Hi, my name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED, and this is Q5 Ham Radio. I'm joined by Dan N6MJ, who, as most people know, is on Canary, where he'll be operating EF8R in the CQ Worldwide CW contest. I'm really looking forward to catching up with them. Dan, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
So give us the update. Everybody's waiting to hear.
Yeah, so we are, not going to say we're 95% set up now. Levi K6JO is here with me. He's been working really, really hard on getting all the stuff ready to go. We spent a lot of time today outside working on the 80 and 160 meter verticals. So I'm looking forward to do some testing tonight on both of those. That's kind of like the last real step. They look good on paper, and when we run them through the radios, everything looks good. But I want to get some real on the air testing. Inside the shack, everything is again about 95% done. We have all three radios set up. The two run radios are going to be the Icom 7610s. Radio 3 is the K3. I just completed the CWT, which is the 1900 Zulu one. Made roughly 250 Qs in that. I was very, very happy with how things went. One of the big things that you always have as unknowns at a station like this are, is there going to be any interstation interference? And I'm happy to report that there was none. And everything worked great. So I feel like at this point, we're definitely on the right track and almost completely done.
So I know that Braco had spent some time there getting the station rebuilt for his effort in CQ Worldwide Single Sideband. What didn't he have done that you needed to redo for yourself?
There was a couple things that had broken since the time that he left. One of the things was the 40 meter USA wire beam. So that one we had to fix yesterday. We actually had Pekka, OH1RY came up, and he's able to do that on his own. So he had to retie most of the ropes on those, but that's all fixed. And then we had to do some adjusting on the verticals. So that's what Levi was doing today. So the 80 meter vertical, for example, was set for phone, which we already knew coming in. So it was a tiny bit of a struggle. We're learning stuff as we go along here too. Levi knows a lot, but retuning these verticals was not something that he's really done a lot of before. And so Braco actually walked through some of that with us today, along with a couple other guys. I know N2NL helped us as well. Same with Bill W9KKN. And so Levi was able to go through, and now that antenna is resonant down around 3530, exactly where we want it. And then the same thing, one of the things that also broke before we got here was the 160 meter vertical. You might recall that Braco also had several issues with that while he was here. It broke during the week, and then he had to fix it a second time, kind of a thing. And so we had a storm last week come through here, and it broke again. So we, again, Pekka helped us with that, OH1RY, very thankful that he was able to come up. It's a three-man job to get that vertical down and back up again. We got to try something new again for both of us, for me and Levi, which was the falling derrick method of raising and lowering a tower, or this vertical, I guess it is. That was kind of fun. So we can add that to the list of things we can do now. But Levi was able to really put in the work to strengthen that thing. We're going to have a little bit of rain tomorrow. So far, since we've been here, weather's been good. A little bit of rain tomorrow, but they're not really predicting any major storms. So I think we're in the clear as far as I know, as far as having to worry about things breaking. But honestly, if any of those things break again between now and the contest, we have the ability now to fix it. So that's, I feel good where we're at.
So I also know there was a little bit of debate between you and Braco as to whether or not you needed a third radio, and then whether you needed it or not, you decided to put one in. Did you have any challenge configuring that?
It was the last thing that we did. We wanted to make sure the first two radios were working. And so those of you that don't understand why I would even want a third radio, let me just explain that real quickly. So Radio 1 and Radio 2 are my run radios, okay? So when you're doing a contest like this from a DX location, the ideal way to do it is to do 2 BSIQ, which is calling CQ on both radios, for almost the entire 48 hours. So what that prevents you from doing is tuning around, finding some multipliers, right? Because you're just calling CQ the entire time. So what the third radio allows you to do is during the slow periods, if there are any, you can actually have that audio piped into your headset and tune around a little bit and hopefully find a few mults. I've done this before from ZF. I've never worked a lot of guys in the third radio, but in a contest like this, where we're going for, world records, I've got to try and beat Chris, KL9A at CQ9A. Every multiplier counts. And even if I only get 10 multipliers on that third radio for the whole contest, that's a pretty significant addition to the score. And so that's why, I really wanted to have it if we had the time to do it. And luckily today we had the time, and we've tested it tonight. It is working. So I'll have that ability to do that. So I'll be able to tune around, ideally, it's good for things like 160. You can, we set it up with the K3 with the pan adapter on it. So I can see signals without having to hear them. I can go to them. Then I can start listening when I have a slow period, and hopefully find volts that way.
And obviously, you just got back from a CQ9 not that long ago for the CQ Worldwide Signal Sideband contest, so you're somewhat familiar with propagation in that part of the world. What are you finding different though on this trip so far? Because I know you've been on the air making several contacts.
Yeah, so I'm definitely been doing a lot of testing. Levi as well. I think between us, we're getting close to around 2,000 Qs so far since we've been here. And it's really important to do things like that when you have the time, because we found a lot of issues that we didn't realize were issues until we started operating. Like we had a silly one where we weren't really paying too much attention. So when we got here, just for example, on 20 meters, there is an antenna that's labeled North America, but it is rotatable. Well, we didn't even think to look where it was pointed. And that very first night that I got on, I was a little concerned because I'm trying to run guys in the US and they're so much weaker than they were at CQ9A. I even messaged Chris and man, these conditions are not very good here. I don't know what's going on. It wasn't until the next day that I looked at it and oh, it's pointed at Europe. I should probably move that over to USA. But hey, if I got here on Friday and I wasn't paying attention, I sat down and operated and I did the whole contest that way because I wasn't looking at it. Those are the things that we're trying to catch. Now, one thing for sure that is different between the end of October and now the end of November is propagation is slightly different, especially on bands like 10 meters and 15 meters. We're finding that 10 meters is closing very, very quickly at European sunset. So as soon as sunset starts to hit there, the Europeans go away almost immediately. When we were at CQ9A last month, they were still coming in for several hours after sunset. That's one major difference. And then even on 15, we're finding it's about an hour behind 10 meters as far as closing to Europe. But that's definitely a real thing. But here at EA8 and Chris and CT3, our sunset is probably another hour after Europe. So we're still able to run USA stations for a good hour or two, or potentially more after that closes. So that's one thing that's definitely different between the two contests. It's always that way. Conditions are always going to be better in October than November, especially on the high bands. So we're going to deal with that too.
So it's already been established that you are the most zen, apparently, of the three of you. But are there any things that you've encountered so far that are making you a little bit nervous going into the weekend?
Kevin, let me tell you, it's been stressful. I'm definitely trying my best to help Levi when I can. You know what I mean? But he's a lot of the things he's able to just do on his own. But it's still, it's stressful to me just wanting to have the best setup ready for me when the contest starts. The worst thing that could happen is we get into the contest and we find some silly problem that we didn't test for. So we're constantly making lists. We're going to do this today and that today. And it has been stressful, but I think that stress is starting to fade away a little bit at this point because of the successful tests that we had today, especially. The CWT was a big one for me. Now I know that I remember how to do 2BSIQ on the air because I've done a lot of practice, but I haven't done it on the air in a while. So I feel good about that. Honestly, 2 nights ago, I sat there in bed and I was just, my mind was racing, all the things that have to happen. What are we forgetting? And I think I slept for an hour that particular night. Now, last night was a little bit different. It was kind of funny. Me and Levi have been sleeping in on some of the days. And today we slept in until 1 p.m., which wasn't planned. But, I'm not going to set an alarm. I want us to sleep as much as I can because that's another important thing leading up to the contest. Okay. And so the night where I slept for an hour, I was also sitting in bed worrying man, I need to fall asleep. I really have to sleep now. And because I was concerned about that, I was wide awake, So there's so many things that are going on. Even though Braco did all that work, there's still a lot of things that have to happen. It's just me and Levi, nobody else really around that's able to help us, except for the few times that Pekka was here. It's been a lot, but I'm in good hands here. I'm super thankful and lucky to have somebody here to do this with me, because I'd say about 80% of the things that we've done, I couldn't do solo. So without Levi, this would not happen.
So Dan, give us a little bit of a lay of the land there. I see the station behind you. You said you slept in. Are you staying there in the bunker, or are you staying somewhere else?
Yeah, we're staying in the bunker. There is a little bedroom off to the side here, and it's got 6 beds in it. I guess it's 3 bunk beds. So I'm sleeping in that room. There's a storage room right next to it. Levi took one of the mattresses and threw it in there, so that we have a little bit of time apart. So we're staying here at the station. Everything is run on generator power here. Okay, so there's no actual electricity other than the generator. So at night we have to turn off the generator, and then when we get up in the morning, we got to turn it back on to run power through. So those are the kind of the things that we're dealing with here.
And what do you have for Wi-Fi?
It's basically just like a hotspot almost. The Wi-Fi is not good here. It's good enough. It is causing a few challenges with the computers. When we're trying to download a small file, like it takes a really long time, and sometimes depending on the time of day, it even won't even happen. So the Wi-Fi is not great here, but it's usable, so we can still be online when we have to be, but it's definitely not good.
Yeah, not to make it about me, but I've been noticing you're dipping down to like 24% uploaded, which is just really unusual when I do these conversations. Usually they're running at minimum of 70, 75%, and you keep dropping down to below 30. So, but I guess all you need to worry about is being on the contest online scoreboard, correct?
Exactly. And we tested it out today in the CWT again. I was on the online scoreboard, wanted to make sure it was working properly. Everything worked great. So, we're definitely going to be on the scoreboard. Chris will be on there. Braco will be on there. I'm hoping a lot of the other guys from 2 Point Land will be on there as well. So, more to come on that. But, it's really for the people that are, viewing from the outside, right? I mentioned before that me and Chris are not going to be viewing the scoreboard because, when we look at the scoreboard, it might change the way that we're operating, and we don't want to have that affect us. But we do see the importance of it. And we want everybody to enjoy what's happening here, right? And that's one of the small ways that we can do that, is to have our score on there, and I hope a lot of people are able to watch that throughout the weekend.
Well, and I think you're going to have a lot of people watching it. I'm getting a lot of feedback offline after they watch these videos building up to the CQ Worldwide Showdown, and people are definitely planning on tuning in and paying attention to that. So thank you for that. One of the things I learned today was there's a channel set up between you, Chris, and Braco. That kind of surprised me. What's that conversation like?
Well, it's always fun to have our little group chats like that. Every year we have something going on along those lines. And honestly, it's, a lot of going back and forth, testing our stations, seeing what we're up to. Like we were trying to see if Braco was going to be on for the CWT, that kind of a thing. It's kind of cool to have that line of communication between the three of us. Obviously, we're all, I would say, good friends, and we're all serious competitors. But the reality is, I want to see everybody do well, including Braco, including Chris. My hope is that none of us have any issues that prevent us from putting in a full effort. You know what I mean? Like if Chris has to stop early, or Braco has technical issues, and that's how I won. That's not ideal for me. I want all three of us, and everybody else too. All the other guys that are going to be on. Everyone's important, but I want everyone to have the opportunity to put in a full effort without having anything preventing them putting in that high score. And so, I've spent a lot of time talking to Braco about what to do from Zone 9, because Zone 9 is going to be very similar to what me and Chris have done from Zone 8 and Zone 7. Propagation is very similar. And so I've already talked to Braco about a lot of strategy points that he's going to need. And it might seem silly that we're, giving our main competitors, you know, an edge, but what the reality is, as most of you guys know, Brazzo built this or rebuilt this station. I'm not going to say from scratch because that's not necessarily true, but it was not working well when he got here, and now it is, and it's because he set it up and he knew I was coming, and I love the camaraderie that happens even between the top competitors. That's one of the reasons why I really like ham radio and contest team especially.
No, I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm just continually amazed at the camaraderie and the way people help each other out, starting with the station owners that turn over their stations for people like yourself and Chris and Brazzo. But also I was talking to Felipe and P4Z today, and I knew he was very instrumental in getting HK1T for Brazzo, but I didn't realize that he had helped you get your entree onto Canary. And I just love that back and forth, and everybody's helping each other out, even though we're in the middle of this showdown. And I think it's important to note that this really is going to be a fun matchup between you, Chris, and Brazzo. But you also mentioned something else, and it's come up a few times in the last couple of days. There are a number of other great operators that are going to be on over the weekend, and I just wonder if you have any shout-outs to any one of those people that are also going to be on the leaderboard, maybe ending up in the top 10.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Felipe himself, MP4Z. He's going to be on from Kilo Papa 2 Bravo. I know he's going to put it in a full effort from down there. He's fighting some noise issues. I'm sure he probably talked to you about that, but I know that's a bit of a struggle. And also, you mentioned that he helped me get in here. He's been instrumental in a lot of my operations over the years. He's a guy in the Caribbean that knows everybody. And so, I've operated from EA8 once before. I was operating as EF8U in 2016 in Worldwide Phone. And that whole operation was also started with Felipe because he knows the guys here in EA8. And so what happened this time, it was about 2 months ago, I did not have a place to operate from. I had, I've already given into the fact that I'm not going to do a big effort this year. I was really trying to find a 3-point land location. It just wasn't happening. And so it happened to be on a Facebook post. I mentioned that I'm not going to be on, and Felipe was like, why are you not going to be on? I'm like, Felipe, I need a place to go. And he's like, all right, I'm on it. And then literally that weekend, I had an invite to EA8. So huge shout out to Felipe, of course. Now the other guys, I'm going to miss somebody, I know, but the guys that I'm really looking forward to seeing, John, KL2A at KP4AA, Tom, 8 Peter 5 Alpha from W2SC. I worked him a few times this week. He's already there getting things set up. Andy, N2NTs at V47T. Actually, Andy just did the CWT as well. I think he came in first. He had 298 Qs or something like that. That's super crazy. I came in second, so I know Andy's really gearing up and he's ready to go. And then you have some of the other guys too. I see that UT5 UGR is going to be on from Fox Mike again, and then you got a bunch of other players. I think there's going to be 2 separate races that people should be watching. It's just the way that this contest goes. I do expect me, Chris, and Brazzo to be at the top, but the main reason for that is we're all in 3-point locations. Okay, so that's just the way the contest goes. Me and Chris have done the 2-point thing for the last 10 years, so we understand it. But the second competition is going to be from that 2-point land. I think that's always super interesting too, because are they going to win? I'm going to say probably not. But you have this whole group of 6 or 7 guys going all out from the Caribbean, and that little battle is going to be super fun to watch too.
And I know you're there for the competition, but I also have to say that people are having a lot of fun contacting you before the competition. I got a text from Seth Jones, NU1D, who was the first in your log, I think, and it's just fun to see that excitement. We're not even in the contest yet, and people like Seth and others are just excited to get you in the log now.
Yeah, I've had a few people mention, I called, I don't even remember who it was, but I called somebody on probably on 160 last night. And he's like, EA8 Craig N6MJ, from Q5, and this is on CW, of course, but they're even on CW, they're all excited about it. So I think that's super neat. The main, I don't like the spotlight, to be honest with you, Kevin. It's not something that I super enjoy. But the reason why I'm doing this is to promote the hobby. And I see the value. You hear it, I hear it. I know Randy hears it, Chris hears it, Bill hears it. People are listening, people are watching, and anything that we can do to add value to this hobby. That's why I'm doing this. Even though it's not my forte, I'm not always super comfortable in front of the camera. But people are interested, and as long as we can keep people interested in contesting, I think I'm all for it. So
I think that's a great note to end on. I know you need to get some sleep and you have some work to do tomorrow, but hopefully we'll have a chance to talk one more time before the contest starts. And then after it starts, I'll be staying in touch with Levi, obviously. But Dan, thank you for joining me.
absolutely, thanks, Kevin.
My name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED. This is Q5 Ham Radio. I've been talking to Dan N6MJ, who is getting ready for the CQ Worldwide CW contest this weekend from Canary, EF8R 73.